Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of Anatare Podcast. As you know, it's your boy Uthman Ibn Muhammad. You can also call me Kudi Alcantara. FM, it's been like 2 weeks that we have not brought any episode of the podcast to you due to me being sick. As you can hear from my voice, I'm still having some cold, but I decided to do this for you people because I cannot leave you out there for like 2 to 3 weeks without dropping any episode of our podcast to you. But today, our podcast, I'm going to be alone without any guest on the podcast because I decided to do this special episode for you people, which is about my journey from Ghana to Europe. It's going to be a short video that I'm not going to take a lot of your time. So before I start, I want to say sorry to you guys for leaving you hanging there for 2 weeks without any episode of our podcast to you guys. But I promise to you guys that I will make it up to you. So how did my journey started from Ghana to Spain? Or how did I came to the decision that I have to leave the country and pass through this deadly road to Europe? My journey started way back in 2016. That's when I left Ghana. But before we come to 2016, let me take you back something small about my life. I'm a young boy who comes from like a large family. My grandfather, which is popularly known in Ashanti region and Kumashi in Ehria, which his name is Alhaji Idrisu. He is a man of honor, a man of dignity. I'm not praising him just because he's my grandfather, but anyone can testify about my grandfather if you go back to area to ask about him. So I grew up with my grandparents, and I always appreciate like the kind of like education that they gave me growing up. The very important part was the Islamic part of the education that my grandfather gave me, and I always pray that may Allah reward him for that and may his soul rest in peace. So I grew up in Ehria Zongo, which is in Kumashi, Asante region, in Kwabere to be precise. I grew up there. After I completed high school, I was there doing the kind of lifestyle all the young men in Ghana are doing. I don't have to be mentioned the kind of stuff that I was doing, but people who know. You know that it's not anything that we can share out here on the media. So it got to a point in my life that like things were not moving on well for me, like things were going sideways. And at that moment, I had 5 siblings with me that make it 6. So my father, Allah bless my father with a sickness which is stroke. That was way back since I think 2008 or 2007 at that period of time. To date, my father has not been the same as he used to be. So the responsibilities of we the 6 siblings was on the shoulder of my mom. And as the eldest son, I also have to support in some way because my mom have to stay back home taking care of my father. So I will be going to school. After school, I will be coming and opening my mom's shop to make sales so that we can have something to eat in the evening or the next day. So that has been my life. And it got to a point after I completed high school. Even before high school, I was helping my mom taking care of a shop and selling food. So that's where I grew my passion for cooking, because I used to cook jollof rice, plain rice, oil rice, indomie, yam, all of this stuff. So I used to cook it myself and sell it for my mom because she has to be home taking care of my dad. So it got to a point that I was there and one of my uncles came to me. One of my uncle who was living or who is still living in Canada, but his life is not like living in Canada, but he keep going up and down, which his name is Alhaji Abubakar Ali Zaiba, Sarkin Samari Ehuya Zongo. Like he passed message through one of my uncle, which is called Isaac, popularly known as Kaka. He came and talked to my parents. He wanted to sponsor we the youth in the family so that we can travel outside the country. And at that moment, as a young boy growing up, I never had any intention of traveling out of the country. So when the offer was brought to me that my uncle wanted to sponsor me for me to travel to Europe, but through Libya, like I was, no, this offer, I will not accept it. So my parents tried and talked to me, like tried to convince me, but still I did not agree with them. So I keep on moving because at that time I was seeing like a little, like small amount of money. So my focus was on I can make it in Ghana. There was at the time of my life that I was decorating a room in my grandparents' house. I finished decorating the room, like I arranged everything. It was left for me to go and bought some stuff like television, fridge, and all those kind of stuffs. So I went with one of my friends, which is now in United States of America. So on our way coming back from Edum, when we reached Swami Roundabout, something just came to me and I just spoke out of nowhere, like, bro, I want to go to Libya. And he was like, yo, stop fooling, because when they gave you that offer, you rejected that offer. Why is it that all of the sudden you are just saying that you want to go to Libya? So as soon as I reached home, I went and spoke with my parents and I told them that I've made a decision, so I want to go. So, one thing that my uncle did that make me who I am today, because I'm nobody, but like I'm not where I used to be before. Because he said, because my uncle will or can or is able to pay for everything for us to fly to Europe. But for me, what I learned from what my uncle did was like, he wanted us to learn something about life. He wanted us to face life. So that's why he wanted us to pass through that hard road so that we will learn something about life. So we passed through. So after I made that decision, I told them that I want to go. So my parents were like, cool. So they talked to my uncle, and my uncle said, okay. But he paid the money, but he told us that we should also come up with part of the money. Because, when someone is willing to help you and the person made you or makes you make some effort and support in some way, that you also have part of your money in the process. When you get out here, you work hard. But if everything is paid for you and you get out here, you will be lazy. You will not be hustling very hard to make everything like work out for you. So at that moment, I was having like some laptop, some PC, so I have to sell them and come up with some money. And my mom too also have to find her ways and means to come up with some money. And I quite remember, I think my mom's elder sister was also help us with some part of the money. So like I don't quite remember the total amount that we came up to add up to the one that my uncle was willing to pay to support me to travel. So after everything was set up, in less than 1 week, I have to leave Ghana. So that's where the journey started. So I quite remember I took my bus from Ghana to Nigeria at Swami. Yeah, I think at Swami. So at that day, whenever you are traveling, normally you have to seek advice from people that have been where you are going before, or you have to seek advice from people that are living there so that you will know what you are going to face. But I used to be that type of person that don't like sharing stuff about myself. Guys, let's take a commercial break. After the commercial break, we will continue on from there. Ebusianfo ya mama kwaba eba adepa roofing sheet. Chale wu si dan we do lentin ato adwenwen ekwan a obefa so anya chance dan papa abo wo fie so. We die adepa roofing sheet e de nema papa abro. Nema papa ebo no nso da form noko sei. Ko bi ka kire me anka me engine dio me a me di me ni ko hu ye ne hwe omo company na da ho a etwa wo mfoni ni so no. Wa hwese na branch ne si bo omo homoden we de menko bebi ma omo nkoye kalabule estimate bi ama wo we de adepa woni twiem na ye estimate ni ama chance da no si your quality bibia ye quality we de adepa for you edi ne kura edi ho adanse e ma ne ho. Welcome back from our short commercial break. Guys, I want to remind you, if you are building and you are looking for the good plug for your roofings, don't forget to contact Adepa Roofing Sheets. Wherever you are in Ghana, all over Ghana, Adepa Roofing Sheets got you the best roofing sheet company right now in Ghana, and it's very affordable. So don't forget to contact them. You have their contact down there. Just contact them. They will plug you in. And their customer service is very mad, it's very crazy. So guys, get in contact with them. So let's continue on from where we stopped for the commercial break. So as I was saying, I wasn't that kind open person that I like sharing stuff about me back then. Not now that everything we share about it on social media, you know. So normally whenever someone is traveling out of the country through that route of Libya to Europe, you need to talk to people who live there or who have been there before, so that they will give you some advice on how you will prepare yourself. But I never did that. I never talk to people or I never seek advice from anyone. So through making my preparation, I never knew that if you are going to Libya, you're supposed to get those kind of stuff. You're supposed to get that. You're supposed to get that. So my preparation was like when I was going, and it was after Eid. It was after Eid, so there was a lot of abundant meat in the house. So I fry a lot of meat, and I took like some 5-star, Monster, and Storm, all those kind of energy drink. That was the things that I pack going to Libya, because that time when I was talking to the connection man that was going to push me from Ghana to Italy, he was also a related family, Malcolm X. So he told me like, oh, from Ghana to Italy by like 1 week, 10 days time, you will be in Italy. So I thought it was going to be an easy journey. So I started my journey from somewhere roundabout with a lot of meat, energy drinks, thinking that, oh, by next week I'll be burger. People will be calling me, oh, burger. So our bus took off from Swami to Niger. So we passed through Tamale, Boko, we entered Burkina. So the funny part was when we got to the Ghana-Burkina border, the immigration were doing their regular job, like doing the checkup, and they were asking some questions, where are you going, and all those kind of stuffs. So luckily, I met 2 guys in the bus who were also taking the same route that I was taking. So when they stopped us at the immigration point, the one immigration officer was asking me, where am I going? And I told the immigration officer that I'm going to Libya. So the immigration officer said, you are going to Libya, right? And I was like, yeah. So and he said, okay, wait for me. And he took my ID card, which was my Ghana card back then, the voter's ID card. And he got off the bus. And as soon as the guy got off the bus, and so those 2 guys with me that I met them on the bus, they were from Accra. So they told me that, yo, bro, you are not supposed to tell them that you are going to Libya. You're supposed to tell them that you are going to see a family member either in Burkina or in Niger. You just have to find something, but don't let them know that you are going to Libya. If not, they will take all your money. So I was like, oh, wow. So I just learned something from those guys. So I carried one with me. So, you know, normally you're supposed to like give some tips before they let you go. Even if you are going to see a family member, they will take something from you. So when we got into Burkina, it was even at night time. We reached at a certain checkpoint in Burkina, and they stopped the bus, they controlled us, and they asked us where we were going. So just because those guys gave me some feedback back then, so I told them that I was going to see my father who is sick in the jail. So they asked me where in Niger, and I say Nyame where, and I was like blah 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 blah. So they say no. So out of all the people in that bus, almost like 60 people in the bus, they took down the three of us, me and those two guys who I met on the bus earlier. They took us into some small room and they locked us in that room for like, I think, 30 to 40 minutes. And they were demanding money from us. I don't quite remember the amount of money they were asking us in Safer, because it's been almost 10 years now. So I don't quite remember the amount. And we were not having that amount, so they kept us locked in there. But me, my situation was quite different, because the money that we paid the connection man to take me there, all this type of like bribery was part of the money, because you have to do all the settlements so that I can pass through the route freely. So the driver, they already gave the driver money to pay for my settlement through the borders till I got to my destination. So the driver bargained with them and he gave them some amount of money that I have no knowledge how much he gave them. So after then, they let me out and it was left with those two boys there. So the bus was still waiting for them. We waited, and later they kind of sort themselves out. So we passed through Burkina and we got to Niger, Niamey, which was the capital of Niger, the next day in the evening. So the bus station that we got to, our final point or our final stop of that bus was in the capital of Niamey, which was a certain bus station. So they drop us there and we have to continue on our journey, because Niamey was not our destination. So we have to take another bus that will take us to Agadas. So from there, we have to take taxi because we don't know where the other station was. So the taxi stations taxi drivers that were there, we spoke to one and he said, oh, okay, he not there, he can take us. And he took us, bro. The place that we were supposed to go, it was like 2 minutes walk from where we were. But the taxi driver took us. He went and make a lot of rounds all around Yemen, like almost 40 minutes in the taxi, so that he can take like a huge amount from us. As soon as he dropped us at where we were going, the Yemen main bus stations that go like long journey, he dropped us there and we just look at our back, and the place that he took us is just at our back. So it was normal, we just paid our money. And as soon as we got there, the last bus that was supposed to go was full. So we have to wait for like at least 5 hours. So we booked our next bus, which is like 5 hours. So we were around there till like almost at dawn, around 4 something, and the bus took off. And that journey too was crazy, bro, because the road wasn't good. So it took us like almost 2 days to go to Agadas. Yeah, almost 2 days to go to Agadas. So as soon as we got to Agadas, yeah guys, as I'm talking, I want to also remind you, don't forget, if you are looking for the best plug for your roofing sheet, at the Roofing Sheets, because they have the best roofing sheets in Ghana right now. So let's continue on, guys. So as we got to Agadas, me and those guys, we moved together to Agadas. But as soon as we got to Agadas, we were not using the same connection man. So my connection man sent someone to come and pick me up. So they also went their way. That's where we lost contact. Since then to today, I've never heard from them. I don't even remember their names. So my connection man took me, he let someone come and took me to his house. So when I got there, the driver that was supposed to take us to Libya to pass through the desert, is now on his way coming from Libya because he took some passengers and he is coming back. So I was in Agadas for like I think 3 or 4 days waiting. So I was there, and the funny part was like I wasn't taken to the ghetto where they keep their passengers. I lived in the house of the connection man because the connection man have a good relationship with my connection man back in Ghana, who is like a family relative or is a relative. So I stayed in his house, but the funny part was like I wasn't sleeping in a room. I was sleeping in a car garage. And the car garage is not any car garage. It was like a wooden car garage. You know how the Yemen houses are. And I was sleeping with chickens, goats in that same room for like 4 days. So the part that helped me a lot through my journey on desert was that the driver came 2 days before we moved. So he always come to the connection man's house. They have some small shop in front of the house that we used to sit there, me and the connection man and his brothers and people like the neighbors around them. So the driver came, and he was from Chad, a black Arabian, and he speak a little bit of Hausa. So that was also an opportunity, like an advantage for me. So the driver got to know me from there. So the day that we were, like the evening before we moved, I was there, and the brother of the connection man asked me in Hausa, "Kasi bidon, if you have bought your bidon?" And I was like, "What happened to bidon?" Because their Hausa was very deep. So I asked him, "What is bidon?" And he was telling me like a gallon that I will put my water in, that will carry my water along on the desert. And I said, "No, I never knew I was supposed to buy all those kind of stuff." And he said, "Okay." Then he took me with a motorbike to the market to go and bought one. So we got there, and I wasn't that quite lucky. So when we got there, like the market was almost closed, and there was no big gallon over there. So I bought a small gallon. So I carried it along with me. So it reached the day, that D-Day, that we are about to move on to the desert, which was at dawn. They arrange us as Saidi. They arrange us like as animals on that hilos. That in Ghana people would say pick up, yeah, hilos pick up. So they arrange us, the men, we were out, like we were hanging on the hilos with a stick in the middle of our leg that will help us like hold. So they put all our stuffs down. So the women and the kids were sitting inside the hilos, and we were hanging around like we were the protection of the women and the children in the bus. And bro, that journey was crazy. It was crazy, bro. So we spent like almost 3 days on the desert. But you know, there is something that they said in life, that whatever you do in life that you don't get the credit for today, or you don't benefit from it today, one day it's either you or someone from your family or your kids are going to benefit from that thing. We spent like 3 days on the desert before we got to how do they call Madama, that Madama border, the border between Yemen, Niger and Libya. It was like a big barracks camp, like soldiers camp. So when we got there, they stop us, they control us, and a little bit of settlement. So at that point, before we got there, let me take you back. Before we got there, on the hilos that we were going, there were four pickup that we were going, but like 30 minutes through our journey, one of the pickup like got some fault, so it cannot continue the journey, so they have to go back. So it was left with only 3. And out of the 3 hilos that we were going, the 3 car, almost 200 people, I was the only one who spoke Hausa, or who knows how to speak Hausa among all of us. And the drivers, they speak only Arabic, and two of them speak like a little bit of Hausa. So I became the media, or the main of communication between the driver and the rest of the passengers. So it seems like, or it means like I've gotten some posts So after we move, like 4 hours later, the drivers, like, they have to stop for us to like eat something or drink water and those kind of stuff. So as soon as we stop, and like people were rushing and they started beating people, and the driver called me, Dogo, like tall boy. And I was like, yeah. And I came out and he told me that I should share the water to everyone. You see the head of the gallon, that red cup that they used to like sew the gallon. Everyone have to take like 2 or 3 of it. That's like the mean of cup. You have your own water, but you are not allowed to take the water the way you want. The water that you brought now is no longer your water anymore. We share it among ourselves. So I shared the water to them. So I was the last person to have my water. So when it got to my turn, the driver told me that I should drink any amount of water that I want. And bro, I was, Charlie, I piped the water. I piped the water very well. So we continued our journey for like at least 3, 4, 5 hours. Later, they also have to stop for them to eat, for us to also eat. And we were not having food. Because at that moment, I had like at least it was leveled at least like 4 or 5 energy drink in my bag. And some Nigeria guy stole like 2 out of them. He stole 2 out of them, and it became like a little misunderstanding on the desert, but it's all in the past. So the drivers, just because they got to know me before we moved, so whenever they are eating, they used to invite me and all those kind of stuff. So let me take you. After we reached to Madama, that's the border town between Libya and Niger, I met 2 guys from Niger. So because I was the only one who spoke Hausa, and they asked me where I'm from, and I told them I'm from Ghana, and they were like, yeah, Ghana. They have been to Ghana before. And I asked them, where in Ghana were they, or where in Ghana did they went to, or where in Ghana were they living? And you cannot believe what I'm going to say. And they told me that they were in Kumasi, and I asked them which part of Kumasi, and they say Ehria Zongo. And I was say like Ehria Zongo, yeah, because I know in Ehria Zongo we have a lot of people from Niger living there. Those Abuch who used to cut nails, who used to do like kebab and all those kind of stuff. A lot of them live in Ehria Zongo to date. And I was like, wow. And I told her, yeah, I'm also from Ehria Zongo. And they asked me, really? And I was like, yeah. And I say, I'm a grandson of Alhaji Idrisu. And they were like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. And they say, yeah. They say they know him because when they came to Ghana, when they came to Ghana, he was the one who helped them got place to sleep. He was the one who helped them. So just because they just got to know that I'm a grandson of Alhaji Idrisu, like, come and see the way those people were treating me. They went in and brought me bread, because on the desert, bread is gold. Bread is gold on the desert. They brought me like, I think 3 loaf of bread and like some sardine and tuna and I think Fanta or Coca-Cola, this kind of like the 2 liters or all those kind of stuff. They gave it to me just because of how my grandfather treated them. So this is also part of the lesson that I learned in my life. Like, you have to be good to people that you met, because you don't know when or where you will also go and be in need, or anyone from your family, that those people that you helped back then will be of help to you or someone from your family. So from there, we got to Libya. And that's where the Wahala starts. But as I told you that I'm not going to make this episode very long, we will pause the video here and we will bring you the part 2 of my journey from Ghana to Europe. So guys, I will end my video here, and I will also say sorry to you guys for keeping you waiting for 2 weeks without any video for you. You know, Anatare is for you people. It's for us all. The channel belongs to us all. And don't forget, if you are building and you are looking for the best plug for your roofings, contact Adepa Roofing Sheets. Wherever you are in Ghana, Adepa got you. They will make an estimate that will blow your mind at affordable price. Just contact at the paraffin sheet and they will attend to you nicely. Please and subscribe and wait for the part 2 of my journey from Ghana to Europe. Peace. Salam.